Okay, it's currently 11 o'clock at night. It's way too late, but it's also way too late for me to go back. So here it is. You may have heard that Jeremy Corbyn has been in talks with Nigel Farage about wanting to take Nigel to court over accusations, shocking ones that must be said, that Farage has made towards Jeremy Corbyn about the fact that Farage is under the impression that Jeremy Corbyn believes that the world is somehow run by a secret Jewish organization, and Corbyn is talking to his legal department about the possibility of taking Farage to court over these comments that are unfounded and no doubt completely untrue, just because Nigel Farage wants to be seen as, clever in some way, or thinking that the best course of action is not to improve your image, but to go on the offensive, aka the Lee Anderson route. And just like what happened with Lee Anderson, your guess is as good as mine, ladies and gentlemen, as how well this turns out. Because there's something of a very interesting pattern that's going on, is that the right-wing side of the political spectrum come out with shocking accusations that are ultimately unfounded and are completely untrue, and could be the difference between normal people like you and I being blacklisted from a lot of jobs in the future if people ever discovered we said things like that. And yet for some reason these people just sort of roll over and just say, well, that's just how it is, that's just what we do, as though that sort of behavior is normal. So in that respect, yes, I absolutely would insist Jeremy Corbyn takes Nigel Farage to court, because you know what? People need to understand that it's not cool and it's not okay to say things like this. It's not okay to just blatantly say lies about people, thinking that slander is absolutely the right option, instead of, not being slanderous and actually responding or talking about somebody with the degree of intellect. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, one thing that's also becoming very, very clear in light of these recent weeks is that the idea of actually pursuing any form of argument with any degree of intelligence is clearly not on the agendas for the right-wing side of the spectrum. I'm not saying, of course, that the left do necessarily the exact opposite of these things. There's probably no doubt many cases, many Labour MPs have probably said things without really thinking about them. But in these specific cases, with Sadiq Khan and now with Jeremy Corbyn, well, if it's happened, if it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. And I even got some very interesting comments from people saying that I just looked like a lefty whinge bag, millennial, blah, blah, blah. Basically, the sort of comments that have absolutely no impact and don't actually mean anything because some people just can't accept the reality of things. You're right, and yeah, well, that describes a lot of Nigel Farage's support. But also, you gotta wonder, ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, you set your own bar in life, and really, is Nigel Farage as high as it goes? Really? That's your aspirations for a role model? Oh, and by the way, people say he's studied politics and he's known politics for years and stuff like that. Well, if he has, he'd rather be setting an example, not by trying to insinuate a level of extremism that sort of rallies in the direction of just say whatever you want because it's fine, and nobody can say you're not because we can use the excuse of free speech to say horrible things. Freedom of speech is not an excuse to say and do horrible things. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we should be learning how to work together, not fight each other. But I also want some level of reparations to be made, because once again, somebody needs to absolutely put people like Farage and Anderson in their places to know that you can't go around saying things like that to other people. It does not happen. It won't happen, and the sooner people find this out, the better. That's all I gotta say about it. That's it. That's the video. Good night. And I'm going to sleep on it, and probably awake even more unreasonable at Farage than ever before.